Despite mysteriously losing 2 wives, Drew Peterson has insisted from the get-go he's innocent. But 5 years after the murder of his 3rd wife, Kathleen Savio, the investigation into this case reveals a completely different take on Drew Peterson. We've gotten an inside look at the case that authorities are putting together in this exclusive Fox investigation. To solve the murder of Kathleen Savio, authorities have done more than exhume her body. They've compiled a body of evidence. In documents obtained exclusively by Fox Chicago News, we've learned investigators put together a list of at least 59 leads.
It's a big story, but it's really a waste of all your time.
The name that shows up most often, Drew Peterson. Kathleen's ex-husband appears 15 times, including a warrant for a DNA sample. Another man in Kathleen's life who was interviewed, her boyfriend, Steve Mariachi. Mariachi is mentioned as being robbed shortly before Kathleen's murder. Was it a coincidence? Don't know. But the documents show Kathleen withdrew $9,000 from a bank account to give to her boyfriend.
My first gut instinct is that this is not public information. I mean, this is confidential. This is a confidential lead source.
We asked private investigator Jim Miller to look at the paperwork. Miller, who's been in the business for more than 15 years, calls the lead list very thorough. He says it proves Drew Peterson is clearly the prime suspect.
The motive is a classic motive in most crimes of passion, which is money and love.
The file also indicates investigators have interviewed Drew's first 2 wives and his former colleagues at the Bolingbrook Police Department and obtained what we only know as evidence from the police station.
This is classic detective work.
It's unclear how much more work remains on this investigation. A spokesman for the state's attorney's office says they won't comment because information for our story was obtained from documents originally stolen from a state police car. Copies of those documents turned up anonymously for me at our station. But we were assured by that spokesman that our story would not compromise their investigation. Do you think Drew Peterson killed your aunt and killed Stacy Peterson?
I think he did.
Any doubts?
None.
At least one other person got the documents, Charlie Doman, the nephew of Kathleen Savio. He tells us the post office found the papers, saw the Savio name, and delivered them to his mom. It's just one more reason, Charlie says, he's lost confidence in the authorities.
After seeing these documents and the mishandling of evidence, not only now but back when my aunt was murdered, I think that, I've lost some faith in them.
By coming forward, Doman says he wants to put pressure on the state's attorney's office to press charges.
My aunt did nothing but ask for help. She never got it. Hopefully now we'll get it.
If prosecutors do press charges, they may not be able to rely on Kathleen's corpse for clues. According to Loyola forensics professor Ann Grauer, it all depends on the condition of the body.
Fingerprints are very hard sometimes to find after many years, and it depends on the substance and whether or not the oils from the skin and the materials adheres to it well.
But determining who murdered Kathleen Savio
can become virtually impossible.
Which is why Jim Miller says investigators are collecting so much circumstantial evidence, such as phone records and iPass records.
Because you want to know exactly where the subjects and the suspects were that day.
That's why he says documents show investigators interviewed Kathleen's friends, neighbors, and former co-workers at a Red Lobster and a local hospital. Because as they know, in a court of law, you only get one chance to get a conviction.
If this case is prosecuted and there is an indictment, the state's attorney will make sure that they have enough circumstantial evidence that will be beyond a reasonable doubt.
Drew Peterson has not been named a suspect in the murder of Kathleen Savio. Like with last week's story on this case, we did offer him a chance to tell his side. But his lawyer insisted on first photocopying all our documents. We declined, opting not to facilitate the defense strategy amid this investigation. That said, Drew was happy today to call into WLS Radio. On the Mancow Cassidy show, the owner of a Nevada brothel featured in a reality TV show asked Drew Peterson to fly out there, suggesting this might lead to a future job.
The girls think he's charismatic, he's a fun guy, and they all said the same thing. He's the guy you want to hang out and have a beer with, so I'm going to invite you to come out here and hang out with us today.
And I'll accept that invitation.
Drew Peterson went on to say he might relocate to Nevada to try and get a fresh start. Away from all his troubles, he says that the media has foisted upon him and all his trouble related to this investigation.
But he has acted like a man not only not guilty, but who has not a care in the world or nothing to lose. But isn't there still a grand jury that hasn't wrapped up its work on this case?
Well, the grand jury still is investigating this. It's been at it for many months. Officially, State's Attorney's Office will not comment on the grand jury's work, but unofficially, you do the math, it is possible that that grand jury might wrap up its work by the end of this month, meaning we could have something from the grand jury.
Some kind of answer.